Rise and shine your light. Guys, so yeah, it's really early in the morning, so my voice gonna sound deep. But I had to say this before I just lost my train of thought. This one is about spiritual free agents. And it's kind of like a term I was thinking of. I like to use analogies and metaphors and stuff like that and different kind of ways of explaining things. But to me, a spiritual free agent is like a person who doesn't necessarily have a set identity or belief system or foundation spiritually. So they kind of can be pulled or led or guided by anything they kind of see fit, in a sense. They're what I call trisexual because they'll try anything. But that kind of is what I feel like is why a lot of black people are easy targets for spiritual manipulation. And before I even go further, I want to make a disclaimer. From this point going forward, any black person who listens to any podcast, anything, any content that I post, I want you to know that even if I make a focus on the black community, because that is my target audience, the black family, the black community, I want you to understand that you may hear me say stuff that seems generalized to us as a whole or targeting us, but don't think that means we're the only ones with issues or with this type of setback or that we're broken or we're the only ones that are messed up, because that is not the case and that is not true. It's just that I'm not necessarily focused on healing the mind of everybody else yet. Like, my main focus is just to deshadow the black mind, because we have so much to get through just based off the color of our skin, that we're trying to, how can I say, even the playing field. So it's not about the fact that, don't take anything that I say as a matter of feeling shame or guilt or just self-judgment, because it's not that at all. Because a lot of times that's how I feel like the information comes off, is that we're we're so behind or we're so this or we're so that, because that's not the case. White people have a lot of mental complexes that they need to solve. White people, they're just as much easily influenced by media, by spiritual manipulators, gurus. They're in seek of things just as much as we are. They're swayed by things that people may think is thrown off or spiritually Looney Tunes just as much as we can be. But a lot of times we've always been portrayed as these uncivilized or just ignorant group of people. And we do have levels of ignorance. But to me, we have been targeted to be ignorant. With other people, it's just that they have more resources and more outlets to seek elevation, truth, versus everything has been seemingly stolen from us. You know what I'm saying? So we necessarily we have to go through something. We have to break through the roadblocks just to get to certain levels of growth and whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just like, what I don't like is how, like I said, a lot of this stuff is being portrayed as healing, but what it's doing is it's really just leading us further away from God, our God self, our religion, our sustainability, our foundation, the things that have grounded our minds, our hearts, our souls, our spirits. And it's been so thought out meticulously that it creates a spiritual warfare, because you're like, but man, it makes sense, because low key, it really is true. I really am in this relationship that I feel like it need this work on. I really am. I really don't feel happy with the way my life is going. So they gotta be telling the truth. No, these people have sat around this spiritual table and thought so hard how to make you so effed up and second guess all the things that they're trying to do to help you, quote unquote, seem like they're helping you. But really, you have to really look at the bigger picture. What is it doing to us as a community, as a family, as a dynamic? Like, you have to ask yourself, is it really giving you solutions, or is a solution just to leave everything, leave everybody and run away and think that that's solving your problems? No, I believe in protecting your peace. Don't get me wrong. Everything is with a grain of salt, but you have to really see like this. A lot of it seems to be blaming either the black man, blaming this, blaming that, and not really giving women real solutions, or should really look at themselves and see like, is your self-worth, like there's no accountability other than like you've allowed yourself to be subjected to this type of abuse. Like we don't see that, we have all been used to oppress each other in some form, fashion, some way. And to me, it's all for spiritual capitalism, because right now, every solution is just funding someone's pocket. And we're such in seek of a solution because we're going through it mentally, and we're freaking out and we're panicking and we have so much fear and we don't know what's going on. They put all that with the pandemic and with, the COVID, everything, all that. So it just really scared us. So even if you wasn't even that scared, your mind could have been impacted. Because me, I was, chilling at home. I really wasn't in the midst of the chaos. I wasn't really watching the news. I really wasn't into it like that. I was just chilling. I started watching like little, YouTube videos and like just bored, just like try to find something. Let me do something in my life. Like I don't want to just sit here and be bored and just lazy, feeling like I'm lazy. But really, I didn't even see it for, this is my time to actually rest and connect and a plan. I kept feeling like I need to be doing something, whatever. But, being exposed to a lot of online spiritual teachers and this and that, not saying that they're all bad, because I do believe in spiritual teaching, but it was just not what I was seeking. And I think it's because it was a lot of definitives, like it's either this or that. I really didn't feel like I was being led to be autonomous or sovereign, or, kind of led to make my own decisions. Like everybody has filters, or that's not the really word I'm looking for. Everybody has layers to who they are as a person, like what they represent. Like I always say, like, yes, I do still believe in Jesus. I still believe in God. I still have a Christian background. But do I believe everything in the Bible is elevating or empowering to me as a black woman? No. And it doesn't mean I'm going to pick and choose what I want to believe. Oh, I'm only going to pick this because, I can be this nice, but not that nice. Like, no, not that way. Like, but I'm not going to incorporate something that keeps me stuck or in some level of deep shame or deep self-ridicule that I can't even move forward in life. No, everything should be helping you. Nothing should be stopping you or making you feel hate yourself. Self-hatred is already a roadblock I got to get through. I don't need nothing to help me with that. And the last thing that should be doing that is something that I feel like should be getting me closer to God. And that's how the Bible and Christianity and being religious is supposed to be. I even shadowed religion because I kept feeling like spirituality was the solution to being a religious person. Like I said, everything kept impacting my perspective that I had shadowed. I don't mind being a religious person. That is part of who I am. That is part of my tradition, the culture that has adapted to the world we live in. Being religious doesn't mean you're a judgmental person. You're this, you're that, all of the, kind of stereotypical, especially Christians, all the kind of stereotypical ideas we have about religious people. It just means that you have a way of being that sustains you and grounds you, for me at least. And so I kept feeling like spirituality was the better way to be religious. Like it was the alternative. Like, oh, you can be this or that. You can't be both. Or when to me they're all one and the same. It's just worldly things have impacted things that at once were pure. This world can taint things because when you put a person in struggling environments, when you put poverty, famine, all those stress, darkness does come out of that, because through desperation comes desperate measures. And a lot of times desperate measures are not in integrity. So these are the things that I try to bring compassion to, us as a people. And it doesn't mean that Black people are the only ones struggling, but it does mean that we're always painted in a certain light. That's why I'm always focused on the Black community. It does not mean that white people don't do stuff that's out of integrity. It doesn't mean that white people don't loot or steal or rob or do shiesty stuff or do grimy stuff. Not at all. It's just that when they do stuff or when they have attitudes, it's strong-willed, it's assertive, it's this. When we have it, it's ghetto, it's loud. When we do stuff, we grime and we looting. When they do stuff, oh, they were struggling. When they do, oh, it was a mental health issue. When we do stuff, we just uncivilized. You get what I'm saying? The labeling and the connotation that's always associated with us always has this more negative light. That is all psychological manipulation, psyche manipulation, spiritual, mental. And what does it do to us as a community? For one, we start to judge each other and we start seeing each other in the way that we've been mentally programmed to see each other. And that goes for everybody. That's why I say I'm not like white people can listen to me too, because they can learn a thing or two. It's not just white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. Everybody needs to listen because we've all been programmed in the same way. The only difference is that we've all been programmed to look at us as one way. So it's almost like we have two minds. We have the mind of the outsider and we have the mind of the insider, which is how we see ourselves. We're seeing ourselves in a bad way twice, because we're seeing it as a Black person and we're seeing it as an outsider, which is more of that massa mentality. That's a perspective of how the world sees us. And that's all of our self-hatred is from the perspective of colonization, white supremacy, European standards, Eurocentric standards. So that is why I continue to focus on us, but I want to emphasize and keep stressing that does not mean in no way, shape, or form that we're the ones that need fixing so bad. And that is why there is a level of policing, so to speak. There's policing that needs to be in everything, especially social media now, but in media, but in spirituality. And that's why I always call myself a spiritual activist. That title has a lot of layers, and sometimes I feel torn because a lot of Black people are building entrepreneurship through spirituality and spiritual practices. But what I want y'all to remember is stay in integrity, even if you're struggling financially, because I'm there too. Like, I'm not rich. And sometimes there's this pull that, because I'm getting money, let me find a way to get people. If you're a spiritual teacher or do any type of spiritual practice, Black, white, whatever, Please hold true to the mission. Continue to hold true to the purpose, the intentions, because it's easy to get sucked in and lose integrity. And I know a lot of times Black people, we hate the fact that why do we always have to be in integrity, and you know, other people do stuff and they get, and it's just like, that's just business mindset. It's not you can always have a business mindset, but what is your intention? What's your purpose? Did you literally pick this profession specifically just to get money and take advantage of people? Or what was it? Was your heart ever in it? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Those are the things you need to keep in the forefront of your mind as you go forward in your journey, because it's easy to get lost, especially when you've come from a lifetime of having nothing, of being ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a healer, as a vessel, as a channel, you can easily think your source is good for you, but the enemy can creep in really good, real fast, and do what they came here to do, because that psychological embedding is deeply ingrained. It has been meticulously, systemically thought out. I'm telling you, the way it can loop around and in into, it's like a maze, a mental maze. And if you don't truly understand that, you can easily profess and start preaching stuff that is not really elevating your community. It's sending them deeper into in a mental asylum. And something else, I don't really know how this was related, but it had came on my mind earlier, and I don't know how I was going to intertwine this, but also just, you know, a lot of people, we feel ignorant, and we just like, we feel like we didn't have the tools. We don't have the life skills. We weren't taught things by our parents. And that's another thing that's been part of the manipulation, is pulling you away from your family and your parents and making you have this, because of all these childhood wounds that we quote unquote have. Nigga, everybody has childhood wounds. Everybody has abandonment issues. Everybody has these complexes. It's just that even as a white healer, if you're calling yourself someone who wants to elevate the Black community, you have to truly get some type of co-signing for you to feel that you have that right. Like, you have a lot to break down yourself just to even give us any type of solace. Like, I need to know where your mindset at when you do it. Like, I need to know you have deep empathy and compassion, and don't just see us as someone that you need to save or fix. I need you to understand that white people have issues too, because that's the thing. When we go into stuff feeling like Black people are so, it's not disparaged. Yeah, we are disparaged, and we do need equity and, you know, leveling of the playing field. But it doesn't mean that we are incapable beings. It doesn't mean that we're uncivilized beings. It doesn't mean that our culture is flawed. It means that we need more resources in life. Just period is that. Like, just help us elevate. Like, you don't have to save us and say how we act and this and that is this or that, or label this or that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain, but I feel like y'all can get it. And I feel like whatever I say, it'll resonate in a way that you can understand. But yeah, there's so much. And it's like, it's hard to speak on it in a podcast, because I like to just talk to people. And I like people to just tell me, what are you going through? And for me to give you feedback. So, you know, I have multiple platforms, but like my website has a forum on there. I'm trying to get that started for like the community to start like putting their input, make it a community where we can all come a safe space and just vent on stuff, not trying to program people with a bunch of conspiracy theories. We're just literally here to help each other, give each other solace and peace and advice, you know, different stuff. And then I have my Instagram. I don't know for sure if I want to take DMs, because I don't want to get overwhelmed. And my Instagram is kind of like I filtered it so much that it's a safe space for me to work. But yeah, but you know, if you need to reach out for me and I can transition you to another space or what have you. I don't know how Anchor is being set up now. It may be a way where y'all can comment on this. put feedback into here. They've made so many changes to it and added so much to it that maybe so. But that's kind of all I had to talk about right now. Yeah, I gotta get ready for work, and I lost my train of thought. But I think you get the message, and you got some gems out of this. Just de-shadow yourself. Be yourself. Because at the end of the day, you may go through your whole spiritual journey and come right back to where you is and realize that it was nothing wrong with you. It was only something wrong with how you saw you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, as always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out. Rise and shine your light in opulence. Solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word, message, spout of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. So today I want to. Sorry, y'all. I'm driving and this car just did something. Throw it off. But today I want to talk about the perception of the hood, black people, how we perceive them, even as black people. And it kind of goes back to their monster mentality. But I'm not going to even go into that right now because that is a lot to consume. Boy. Sorry about that. But no, so I feel like a lot of times we have these perceptions of what black people are because all the programming, all the media depictions and whatever. But it's like we don't realize what the root of stuff is. And a lot of times we like, man, that's just a hood nigga. No, that's just a survival nigga. Like, that's just a person who has had a hard upbringing, who has struggled, who has been in poverty. And there's something that connects us. Poverty is a root to a lot of stress. It's a root to a lot of mental dysfunction. It is what puts you in survival mode because in this world, everything revolves around money. If you don't have money, you are automatically in survival mode. To survive, you need money. So you almost lose the essence of love. You lose the essence of connection. You lose the essence of bond because like you don't have time for that. If it ain't making money, it ain't making sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that takes precedence or priority over everything else. And I see this kind of stuff happening. Survival mode is great, but it's also the toxic side of it steals love. It gets in the way of connection. It gets in the way of bond because it's like in this society, it's either time or love. It's like you don't have time for love. And that is necessary, and that's the main thing people need out of everybody. Everybody wants that, whether they say it or not. And so it's like even in teaching, I noticed, and I was going to do a whole podcast about that, saying like how a lot of teachers, especially preschool and or for the younger youth, they're losing connection. Like, for one, this world is over sexualized. Everything is sexualized. You can't even give a student a hug without somebody thinking it's uncomfortable, especially from a male. Like, male teachers, male this, male that, they don't even like them being in infant rooms. Like, they're just so sadistic or pedophiles or predators that they can't take care of children. They can't be with infants. They can't be with, do restroom breaks. It's like, what do you think that does to a man psychologically? You're fueling the dark side of him by making him feel like he doesn't have control of his own sexual urges. And it's like that same thing is happening with like teaching and overall, just in general. It's just, I'm losing my train of thought. It's just so much to it, but it's just like, it's just, there's so many perceptions we have. And I think it was Dale Hughley, but somebody was doing an interview and they were talking about like, the way we perceive black people is like you put people in an environment and all they see or all they interact with is their environment. It's not that it's black on black crime. It's that all you're around is black and the crime is going to happen. It's inevitable. And it ends up being black on black because that's the environment you're in. And that's kind of the same thing when it comes to perception of black people. You think all the negative feelings and attributes you think and characteristics that you've associated with black people, but it's just because that's mostly who you deal with. You mostly deal with black people. So you're going to feel like everything that's in your mind is a black thing, but it's really just a human thing. And yeah, there are mental constructs that we carry as black people based on how we look, but it doesn't mean that being black makes you automatically grimy, selfish, have lack, or whatever. No, it's the environments you grew up in that make you more. And that's why sometimes you can have like a white person that has quote unquote hoodness, or like, you know, they're like black, or, you know, because I just really don't like that the association with black is automatically hood, ghetto, or bad, or that. Just know that white people can have the same dysfunctions that we associate with white people based on their environment. Just like a black person can have the same, based on the environment and the foundation that you set for them, they can have opportunities for growth mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Your environment has a major impact on who you become. But the thing is, you can beat the environment when you create an environment within your mind. And so that is why I feel like the mind is so powerful, because despite your environment, if you start recognizing all the constructs and all the systems and the environment and the impact of poverty and the impact of this or that, the people around you, you can start being ahead of the game. You can start learning how to play the game. You can start understanding that, yeah, it may come to a point where you are having to fight these energies, these demons, these narratives within your mind that tell you this is who you're supposed to be. This is who you are. No, you have to make that decision consciously that, no, that is not going to determine who I am. Like, that is not me or whatever, you know? So, yeah, I lost my thought, but there's so much to it, especially when it comes to, like, the black mind of the male or the female, and like they over sexualizing. That's a topic right there. Me and my husband was just talking about that, and it's like that niggas don't even feel comfortable saying good morning or speaking to people, or let a woman drop her stuff. Man don't even feel comfortable helping her pick it up because she thinking he trying to holler at her. And that's not to blame the woman, because she's been programmed with that feeling of this man just want me for this and for that. And sometimes there is attraction. Sometimes they do find attraction, like, but people, it's just so much, bro. Like, why you gotta feel bad because you find somebody attractive? Why you gotta feel like a predator because you are attracted to the opposite sex? Nigga, I'm straight. Yes, I find you attractive. Yes, you're fine. You beautiful. But it's about respecting. No. It's about, okay, I'm in a relationship. All right, my bad, mama, but you still look good. I just want to give you a props. Thank you. Appreciate it. Move on. Simple as that. It's just so much to the mind that we got to get through. And I want us to stop always associating it with just black. Like, get out of that. And it doesn't mean to take away, because sometimes black people argue like, well, when you say stuff like that, when you say black people they're not struggling, they don't have this or they don't have those struggles, then it's like you take away from the healing that could take place. No, because a lot of the healing is getting out of the mentality of, I have this problem, I have this trauma, I have this and that. It's about knowing that despite it all, I will not fall. Despite it all, it does not matter. I'm going to keep pushing through and I'm going to keep fighting. So what? Now what? Okay? This is the circumstance. This is the norm, quote unquote norm. But I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to defy the norm. I'm going to prove these narratives in my mind and this society wrong. I'm going to keep pushing through and keep fighting and keep allowing myself to recognize that I can achieve whatever I want to achieve, no matter the obstacles. Because that is, God didn't put me on this earth to struggle and stay oppressed and disempowered. God knew I had a limitless amount of power. And if I stand in that, sturdy, grounded, in that knowing, in that energy, in that limitless power, then I can achieve anything. No matter what somebody says. That's more of the solution-oriented mindset, because if you stay stuck wallowing in self-pity and feeling like a victim and feeling like, I just need to blame somebody. It's them, it's them, it's them. It may be. But is sitting down, pointing the finger, going to get you anything? Honestly, literally, ask yourself, oh man, they're so wrong. The world's so bad. Okay. You've gotten that off your chest. Now what? Okay, we brought awareness to it. Now what? We're going to wait for somebody to come and save us? Or we're going to just take matters in our own hand and do it? That's where I'm at this point. Because clearly nobody is giving real resources without paying an arm and a leg for it. So you just got to take matters in your own hand. Network, hone into your gifts, do what you got to do to get what you need to get. But yeah, as always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out.